Scubby! Hold your wheest! Quiet! Quiet or I'll growlish ye. By the way, for those of you who are not Scottish, that's not a very nice thing to happen. Pay attention now and gather round, and I will tell you a story. A story I will tell you of monsters and smugglers and dire deeds. And I will conjure up for you the saga of how the water of life itself was handed down through the mists of time to the very gods on the mountain to mortals such as you. Listen well and mark my words as I tell you of the Jew of Ben Nevis. Hear and remember what I say, and you will be rewarded this very day. My name is Hector MacDram, Hector of the Jew. It was a long, long time ago, and I was young. The earth itself was young. I worked here as landscape gardener to the gods, in this small corner of the earth. I built the mountains with my own hands and scooped out valleys and planted trees, and I set the rocks in the right places. I laid aside vast moors and wildernesses where wild animals could roam and the gods could be at peace. And I worked on a magnificent glen here, pushing aside the mountains to create a fertile valley. The land was truly a place for the gods and for history. And there's been a fair share of that here down the centuries. I watched bonny Prince Charlie come ashore down the road at Loch Nanuam in 1745, and at Glenfinnan the same year when he raised his standard. Aye, and I could hear the Stramash when he got his comeuppance over at Culloden the following year. And then there's Glencoe, not far away. A sad, awesome place. The scene of butchery and man's inhumanity to man. I was pleased with my landscapes, but I was a bit young and enthusiastic at the time, and sometimes I made mistakes. I'm sorry about the great glen. I got carried away and didn't know my own strength. I tore it by accident from top to bottom, creating a big fault line and 3 lochs. You've heard of Loch Ness. It's the 3rd deepest loch in Europe and makes a good bath for a giant. Oh, by the way, if you're in that area, keep your eye out for my pet Paliosaurus Agnes. I lost her when I was having a bath a few years ago and have been looking for her ever since. People say she's a monster and a kelpie and a devil, but she's really just a wee pet. Ah, wee Agnes. You probably know her as Nessie. She's just a wee soft lump. Whilst you're in this part of the world, you should look at my workmanship in Glen Roy. Mortals call them paralleled roads and reckon they're about the best in Europe. They say they were caused by an ancient loch finding different levels at different times. But they were really caused by me pushing huge glaciers out of the way down the glen. Anyway, I was tired after my exertions, and I sat down on Ben Nevis for a minute or two. It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining, and it was warm after recent rain. There was a fine mist coming up through the drying heathers, and I decided to brew myself a cup of tea with water from a nearby burn. I lit a fire in the big curry, and then it happened. An accident. Oh, no, a mystery, a miracle. A thing that was to change the fortunes of this land forever. The work of the gods. Somehow, a wee bit barley for making my barley bannocks had fallen into the boiling water. Oh, I didn't think much of it at the time. But maybe it was that the steam coming off the peat through the heather, the barley, the boiling water, and the peat fire itself had somehow combined to work a miracle. Ah, but that cup of tea was like no tea I had ever drunk before or since. It was wonderful. It was like dew from the heavens, surely the water of life itself. I fell asleep, and I had a dream. I dreamed that all of Scotland should share in this miracle. When I awoke, I told the gods of my dream, and they said,
Hector! Go forth! Go forth anew! Go forth and multiply the dew!
And that's when I started work. First of all, I picked my spot, here, in this valley at the foot of the mountain. Then, with my bare hands, I scooped out 2 beautiful lochans at the top of the mighty ben. Here the soft rains would fall and lie with the mists to create a pure, clean source of water, the very essence, the unique soul of the dew of Ben Nevis. All over the Highlands, people were making whiskey in an illegal way, smuggling it and hiding it and brewing it up in caves and cottages and in untrodden places. Some of it was good enough. But I wanted a man who could make a mighty, truly immortal drop. Eventually, I found John MacDonald, surely the largest human I had ever seen. A giant amongst men, and a gentleman. I showed him my source of pure water, running down the mountain, taking its goodness and essence from heather and peat and mosses and plants on its way. I showed him the fertile valleys of grain and barley. And in the year 1825, the great still here at the foot of the mountain was put to work. My dream had come true, and now you, all of you, my friends, can enjoy the unique flavor and the distinctive taste of the dew. And remember the legend of the dew of Ben Nevis.